Hello, artist. Today we're going to be talking all about Alma Woodsey Thomas, and we're going to be looking closely at her bright, abstract paintings. Now, this is a photograph of Alma. Alma grew up in Georgia, and her family decided to move to Washington, D.C. when she was 16 years old to escape racial tension and to give the family more opportunity. In D.C., Alma finished high school and attended Howard University. Education was extremely important in her family. And when she graduated, she decided to become an art teacher so she could educate more people as well. She loved teaching and she taught in Washington, D.C. for 35 years. When she retired, then she was able to focus even more on her artwork and really focused on painting. She's what we call an expressionist painter. She's known for her mosaic-like painting style and her use of color. Now, when I say mosaic, that means like if you look up here at this landscape, there are no clear defined lines, but she uses these brush strokes. They look like squares and rectangles. She uses those brush strokes to create the look of a mountain, even though there's not necessarily a black line to outline it. So that's a mosaic, taking lots of little pieces to create a big picture. And she really liked to focus on color as well. She was very inspired by things in nature, like the sun, rainbows, and then we have the landscape here. And you can see that in her artwork. Now, in 2016, Miss Michelle Obama had one of Alma Woodsey's paintings hung in the dining room of the White House. This made Miss Alma Woodsey Thomas the first African-American artist to have her artwork on display in the White House. And you can see here, here is President Obama, and they're all sitting around the table and her beautiful artwork's up here. Now, are you noticing the bright colors? And again, those brush strokes that are creating that mosaic style. And then this one, you can see it's small circles and it gets larger. We call those concentric circles. And we are going to get ready to make our own version of this. Now, she would paint these on large canvases and she'd use acrylic paint. Today, we are going to be using paper. And we are going to be creating a mosaic collage inspired by her abstract painting. So notice this one starts with a circle in the middle. When we begin, you may want to do a different shape in the middle, so just kind of be thinking about that. But we're going to create this with paper today.
Yes, now we're going to get ready to create our Alma Woodsey Thomas mosaic collage. Now, her artwork was done with paint and her paintbrush. She used those brush strokes a lot like Vincent van Gogh. Again, not hiding those, using that to create rhythm and repetition in her artwork. So before we begin this, a couple of things. You can use any kind of paper you have, as long as it's okay with the adult at your house or your daycare, wherever you're at right now. Okay, so if you have construction paper, you can do your mosaic with the construction paper. You can see how I cut this one smaller. I have rainbow colors. I'm still feeling the Valentine's Day, so I added a heart in there. You can see this one is construction paper. It has bigger ones, but I am going to assume that you are somewhere where you may not have construction paper or scrapbook paper, some kind of color paper. So I'm going to show you how we can create our own colored paper, which we've done before, and then we'll use that to make our mosaic collage. So again, if you have construction paper or something that you'd like to use, and also if you'd like to do a heart instead of a circle, this is your choice. Remember, our learning purpose is that we are going to create a mosaic collage that resembles Alma Woodsey Thomas's work. Okay, so let's get started. What you're going to need, again, if you're going to choose to go about yours this way, again, without construction paper, you're going to need 3 pieces of paper. Okay, so I have my 3 pieces of white paper. I'm going to slide this over to the side. I also am going to get a placemat, okay, because we're going to be using some broken crayons to create some colored paper today, okay? So again, 3 pieces of paper, placemat. I'm gonna use my handy broken crayons. Again, if you would like to use something different like markers or regular crayons, you wanna do designs, again, you can do that as well. Again, I am going about this as if you do not have any construction paper, okay? So remember, you get that artistic freedom. So again, 3 pieces of paper, placemat. I'm gonna use my broken crayons today. Later on today, you're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need glue. Now you could use a glue stick, any kind of wet glue. I'm gonna use Elmer's glue, okay? Just because it makes it so I can stick more pieces quickly. But again, if you feel more comfortable with the glue stick, use that, okay? Either way, they should dry clear, okay? So you won't be able to see it. And then the last thing you may want is a lid of some kind, okay? That's if you're gonna do a circle. It could be the bottom of your cup. This is a Pringles lid. It could be any kind of circle that you wanna use for the middle, okay? So, and don't forget, the materials will be listed on the website page too. So I know that was a bunch I just rattled off. So let's get ready to first make that colored paper. Now, we know from what we learned a while ago that Alma Woodsey Thomas loved things in nature, and she particularly loved using the rainbow for inspiration. So I am going to be creating some warm color paper and then some cool color today. Okay, so let's start with the warm. When I look at my crayons right here, I'm gonna go ahead and split them up. Think back to when we did our hot dog and our cool cat. Okay, so I have my warm colors, which include red, orange, and yellow. And I'm gonna add pink in there as well. And then you'll see I have my cool colors. Again, notice I don't have any brown or black or gray because they are their own color family. And they're also not in the rainbow, so I'm gonna use these guys today. Let's start with the warm. Notice I have my placemat to keep my table clean. I'm gonna lay these guys down and I'm gonna move them back and forth. And I'm gonna press down pretty hard because I want the colors to be bright. If I do it easy like that, you can hardly see it. But if I press down, I can do it. And I'm just gonna put a little yellow everywhere. Now don't forget about the edges. Sometimes we forget to go all the way over there. Put a little yellow there. Okay. Now again, if you're using construction paper, then you can just skip this part, okay? Or maybe you wanna create some of this to use for fun on another activity. And I'm even gonna put, oops, I'm even gonna put some orange on top of the yellow a little bit and mix it up. I love this orange, that pretty neon color. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna add some regular orange in there. Let's put it over on this side. Again, I'm trying to push down and get it nice and dark. Now remember, if you wanted to put some designs on top of this, go for it. We're just creating some colored paper that we can use today for our mosaic. We need some pink. And mine's only gonna have a little bit of pink in it because my pink doesn't show up quite as good as my orange. I really want my colors to be bold today. Last but not least, let's add some red. Some red up here. And again, the bolder your colors are, the better it's gonna turn out. Okay, so I've got a warm one. So I'll slide these guys over. And remember, I could go in, I could add some little lines on top of there. If I wanted to add a little bit of design, I could do that. Okay, so let's move over to my cool. So I'm gonna slide this guy over. I'm gonna move to my second piece of paper. I've got my cool colors right here. Let's go ahead and jump in with the green. Oh yeah, that one shows up really good. Again, I'm laying it flat, moving it back and forth. Now one thought, you could do this, and if you have some construction paper or scrap paper, you could use both. That'd be cool. Again, normally she would paint this and we would paint this too. But this is a cool way to do it at home. Again, I'm gonna overlap them a little bit. Let some of those colors mix. And I know that I say this every week, but guys, I would encourage you to keep a little bag of these little broken crayons because they're so useful. Instead of just leaving them in the bottom of your pencil box or even throwing them away, get those guys out, put them in a little baggie, because I bet you'll get a lot of use out of them. Think about it, I use them about every week. I'm gonna add a little darker blue here. That one's almost like an indigo color. And again, I'm overlapping a little bit. These colors like to mix together. They look very good like that. Let's see, a little purple in the middle. Some on top of my purple, some more green. Again, I'm pressing down really hard because I want those colors to be really bright and vibrant. Add a little more purple right here. There we go. Okay, I think I'm ready. So I have my warm colors, and I have my cool colors, and then I have my 3 pieces of paper. Okay, so I'm gonna move my placemat out of the way too. So again, now we are going to be creating that mosaic inspired by Alma Woodsey Thomas. I have to say it slow. Her artwork. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, pick which color family you like best. Okay, it's really up to you. I think I'm gonna use my cool just because the colors are a little bit bolder and darker. So I'm gonna take my lid, and the cool thing about this being clear is I can see where I put it. Okay, but again, you could use, let's see, like here's my cup. I could use the bottom of my cup. I could use, I don't know, any kind of round shape you have in your house. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of move it around until I find a spot I like. And I want one that has lots of color in it. Let's see, come back over here. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna take a pencil and trace around it, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out. And again, it's nice and light. Now remember, excuse me, if you'd like to do a different shape, you definitely can. Notice in the other examples I showed you, I had hearts. Okay, it's your choice. And of course, you're welcome to draw the circle, but I know some of us like to use the lid. There we go. Okay, now let me move my little crayons out of the way, clear my space a little bit better. And then I'm gonna take my blank piece, and I can glue it in the middle, over to the side. That's up to you. Okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put a little bit of glue. Notice I didn't drench it. If I hold like this, it's not gonna drip. I'm gonna glue that on there. There we go. Okay, now before we move on, I want you to take a second. I need you to make a promise. We are going to be cutting a lot of pieces on this. If we were in the art room right now, we would work together and we would clean up our tables at the end of class, but right now, I'm guessing it's you, maybe a sibling, okay, at your house who's doing this. We have to promise that we are going to clean up all of the pieces that we cut. If we don't use the pieces or we accidentally drop them on the floor, we have to promise that we are going to pick those guys up, okay? You promise? Okay, let's keep going. So I've got this on there, and now I want to start cutting. Here's the one I did before, some squares. Some of them are more rectangular. Let's see, like this one's a little bit longer. That's fine. Okay, again, I want them to kind of look like those brush strokes that she would do. So I'm gonna spend the next couple minutes cutting some cool color squares and some warm color squares. And I'm going to kind of keep them in a little stack. So I've got some cool here that I used earlier. Let me cut some warm. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go down the side. Now keep in mind, if you cut them teeny, teeny, tiny, then it's gonna take you a really long time to glue it down, okay? But if you'll cut them about an inch wide or maybe half an inch, let's see, that is my thumb, the width of my thumb. If you do it about that big, it won't take you quite as long. So I'm cutting a couple pieces. And I'm going to line them up together. This is just a little way to do it a little quicker. I'm gonna glue this, or excuse me, put those right there. Not glue yet. Getting ahead of myself. Now, if you were using construction paper or scrapbook paper, you'd do the same thing. You would start cutting squares. And again, if some of them are more rectangle shaped, that is fine. Okay? And you would start putting them into piles. Here we go. Okay, now let's get some cool. Now don't throw this away because you may want more of it later. I'm gonna come over and let's do some cool colors. I love the way this one turned out. It's so bold. And again, it's about the width of my thumb. Okay, they can't really be too big. And if they're little, it's just gonna take you a little bit more time. Here we go. And remember, you promised that you were gonna clean up your pieces, okay? Don't forget that part. I know it's easy just to turn the video off when you're done, but we gotta be sure we clean up our workspace. Just like if we were in art class right now. Almost there. Perfect. Okay, so I've got some cool and I've got some warm. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my glue, and normally in art class we would say dot, dot, not a lot. But today you can break that rule just a smidgen, just a little bit. Okay, now that still means that we're not going to drench our paper. We do not want it to drip. But if we were to glue it dot by dot, it would take forever. Okay, and sometimes we gotta work smarter than that, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our glue, and I'm just gonna make a circle that goes around it. Okay, and I'm gonna go over it one more time. There we go. Okay, again, if I were to hold it up, I'll even show you. It's not gonna drip. It's not a ton of glue, okay? It's just enough, so now I can come over and I can just stick it, just like that. So I'm gonna do my warm, and I'm gonna kind of make a circle with that. She uses a lot of concentric circles. Those are circles that are a circle within a circle within a circle. They kind of radiate out, and we're gonna do the same thing. Doing those radial ones. I'm just kind of going around, and maybe when you're doing this, like I have a lot of red ones right here, maybe I want to do a red circle. You can do that. And if there's some that you, if you see some on your paper we used earlier that you didn't cut out yet, you can always go back and do that. Let's see, let's find some more yellowy ones. Kind of looking like a sun or a flower right now. Again, as you make this, you can probably see firsthand how she did incorporate a lot of natural things into her artwork. Again, flowers, the rainbow. There we go. Okay, so I've got them pretty close together. Now let's do another one. We're going to do another circle around that. Again, the concentric circles. I'm going to start here. Do my glue. And then I can't forget right there. So I'm going to add just a little bit. 1, 2 more. Again, if I were to hold it up, it's not going to drip. Okay, I don't want a ton. And now I'm going to move over. Let's do some cool colors. Oh yeah, I love all this green. And I'm even gonna let it hang off the paper a little bit, because at the very end, you can let it dry for a couple of minutes and then go back and get these off. Again, if you like the ones with more purple in it, use those. I'm really drawn to this bright green. I'm loving that. And the cool thing about making the colored paper is sometimes you get ones that have a little bit of both. And just go all the way around. And we'll just keep doing that until we fill up our whole paper. And again, let them hang off the edges. Again, you've already got your scissors out. We can go back and touch those up at the end. Like, see, I'm intentionally making that one stick off. There we go. Because like I said, I will sit it out to dry and then I can go back in and trim those up. Again, if I were to glue each piece, one, I would get glue all over my fingers, but also it would take a really, really, really long amount of time. And this way I can just focus on getting the colors that I like and the shape of the lines that I like. Okay, so I'm gonna keep on gluing and we'll just work our way all the way out. Now don't forget to clean up all your pieces, remember, you promised.